Hi everybody, this is Lara at Pure Elliott Wave with an update for Polkadot for you. Last time I did this, I made a horrible mistake and didn't have all the data. So let's have a look at the wave count and some technical analysis with the last year's data included for Polkadot. It did go down further over the last year and it's formed a nice V bottom down here. And it's bounced up quite strongly. So I'm going to have a look and see how strong this is up off lows. The invalidation point has to change. It's at 4.239212. The target is recalculated. Within cycle wave 1, an impulse, primary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, simple 5-wave Elliott structure. Primary 3 was 10.969 times the length of primary 1. If we see that same relationship between cycle waves 1 and 3, then a target would be 578.636. Let's have a look at what's happening up off this low in the last several months. This low down here is this low down here, 29th of December 2022. So prices moved up quite strongly up off that low. And from this low to this high, I see a nice 5-wave impulse. And then I see an expanded flat for intermediate wave 2. It has a pretty good subdivision. Minor A, B, C. Minor B could be a single zigzag. I think I might actually want to relabel that a double zigzag. I think it might have a better fit. So let's do that. Yeah, I can see a zigzag in here. And I can see a zigzag in here. So there's a 5-wave up structure here, a 3-wave down structure here. If this is correct, then the invalidation point for the shorter term, 5.17904. If this wave count is correct, a 3rd wave up may be in its early stages. I've got a highly provisional target for you. 11.874 would be where intermediate 3 reaches 2.618, the length of intermediate 1. If this target is wrong, it's going to be woefully inadequate, too conservative, but I do prefer to be conservative. Cryptocurrencies usually exhibit much longer 3rd waves to their 1st waves than this. For a normal market, that'd be a pretty good target. For a cryptocurrency, probably far too low, but it's my first target. If we get up there and the structure of intermediate 3 is incomplete and technicals indicate that there's not enough weakness for intermediate 4 to begin, then I'd try and calculate a new target for you. That's how I'll approach that, with a huge bucket load of salt, so it's probably not high enough. Let's have a look at some technicals. I want to see the strength of this low, and I want to see what's happening in terms of volume, especially off this low. On the weekly chart, first of all, at this low here, this next candlestick for the week beginning 1st of January 2023 completes a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. That's nice. And this current week that's unfolding is an even stronger bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. Not quite sure when the week will end for this. Will it end on midnight Friday? I expect that this one's 24/7, being a currency, a cryptocurrency, rather than an index which finishes when the market closes. This one's going to keep going because it's global. So far it looks like we might have a bullish engulfing pattern. What about volume? So the first week up off the low did not have support from volume. I would prefer to see it, but for cryptocurrencies it's not a deal breaker because they don't always exhibit that. Let's have a look at another major low. Well, I guess this is really the only one that was an interim low that did have some push from volume, and that's a hammer candlestick pattern. Or probably not, no, the wick's probably not long enough. It's a bullish lower wick. So we don't actually really have another previous strong low for Polkadot to compare this to, but my experience with these cryptocurrency charts and their sustained lows shows that they don't always have push from volume in the first session up off the low. We are starting to see some push from volume here though, but we've seen that before back here, and yet price continued to fall, so it could certainly make new lows. I'm not seeing enough evidence down there. On balance, volume on the weekly chart is within a range. If it breaks above the yellow resistance line, that'll be a bullish signal. A break below the support line would be bearish. This yellow resistance line's got pretty good technical significance. It's got 4 tests, maybe 5 if you count this one. It's reasonably long held and it's very close to horizontal, so a break above that resistance line would be quite a strong bullish signal. So I'd watch that line on balance volume on the weekly chart. ADX is declining, the DX lines are whipsawing, there's no clear trend at this time frame. The previous downward trend reached extreme here. The previous upward trend reached very, very extreme. The downward trend reached extreme but not very extreme, so it's not above 40, but the ADX line is above both DX lines. That indicates an extreme trend. At an extreme trend, RSI reached oversold back here on the week beginning 12th of June 2022, and down here, the last low, there is some nice bullish divergence. There was back here with that swing low, and again back here, and yet price continued down and RSI continued down a little bit. You could have looked back here and said, okay, there's bullish divergence on the weekly chart after RSI reached oversold. That means we've probably got a low in place, and yet price continued on lower. So on its own, this doesn't mean that that low has to be in place, but RSI is moving up quite strongly with price, so I think the probability has increased and this divergence might be more reliable. So that would tend to support the Elliott wave count. Given oversold, bullish divergence, extreme ADX, yeah, it looks more likely that we may have a sustainable low in place. Some pretty strong bullish divergence, double bullish divergence for money flow and price as well. Stochastics neutral. ATR showing a decline throughout this bear market, now flattening off as the very early stages of a bull market may be underway. So stochastics is neutral, returning from overbought. Price is bouncing down from resistance, found support here just below 5.47, so about 5.3. Now bouncing up quite strongly. Let's look on the daily chart. On the daily chart, oh how weird, for the 16th of March, Thursday, nothing. That's really interesting. That's a little bit suspicious. Oh, I got this data from Yahoo Finance, so it should be pretty good. Their data's usually really good. I like Yahoo. They give me great data. Okay, off this low here, there's a hammer candlestick pattern. Off the major low back down here, what have we got? A bullish long lower wick, a hammer with a pretty small body, an inverted hammer here, followed by upward movement. So yeah, there's some bullish candlestick patterns up off that low. They didn't have push from volume though, not until we get a few days after. Again, that's not a deal breaker. Cryptocurrencies can be quite weak off their lows. I would prefer to see it, support from volume, but we won't always get it. And I say that after studying previous sustained lows that have been sustained for many years in Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP especially. I noticed that some of those lows that are sustained to this date did not have strong volume on the first sessions up off the low. So that statement is backed up by data, as all my statements are. I like data, facts and numbers, and I'm not going to go with assumptions and emotion here. Okay, so this bullish candlestick pattern, it's a downward session though. There's a lower high and a lower low, but the candlestick is green with a bullish long lower wick. And it does have push from volume, but because it's a downward session, although it's green, we can't be confident whether or not this is volume pushing price lower or higher within the session, because we don't know what the balance of volume, or whether up volume or down volume dominated the session. We would have to look inside the session, and I can't do that because I can't get hourly data for Polkadot from Yahoo Finance. I've only got daily, so that's my limitation. So with that caveat, I think we cannot draw a conclusion about that. We need to be honest and say we can't say that volume is supporting upward movement. Volume is supporting upward movement here, but not here. So here we see an increase in range, but a decline in volume. Here we see a decline in volume. Now again, this candlestick it's got such a small body. I'd want to look inside that session to see if it was up or down volume dominating there. After this short bounce, a bearish candlestick pattern, this is an engulfing pattern, didn't lead to anything, just a sideways session. And now the current session, Friday 17th of March 2023, I'm just double checking, yeah, that's the right date. I have actually got the right data for you. And so far we can't draw a conclusion because this session is incomplete, but it does look like price might be getting ready to break above resistance. This does look like a pretty nice V bottom. Let's compare that This one here looks like a slower bottom, a slower movement off the bottom. Let's have a look at these bounces within this downward market. Really slow sideways movement, huge bullish candlestick pattern here. Price just kind of goes sideways, choppy overlapping. Here, this looks like a bit of a V bottom. Let's look at that one a little bit more closely. Yeah, that looks like a nice V bottom. Did have push from volume, possibly upward movement here, but again, downward session closing green, can't tell if up or down volume dominated that session. And then weak volume after that. It's not until we get into this candlestick we see push. So inconclusive. This could be just another bounce within an ongoing downward trend. No range for on-balance volume, no signal on the daily chart. ADX reached very extreme so far in this upward trend. It's now declining and the DX lines are whipsawing, no clear trend. It is setting itself up for another really strong signal. It's at relatively low levels. If it drops below 15 before it starts to then turn up, that would be a really strong signal. And whichever DX line is above the other will tell us what direction that trend would be. The previous downward trend reached very extreme and then it starts to decline. ADX starts to decline. We see the DX lines whipsawing. Downward trend here again reaches very extreme. Possible trend change and now an upward trend. RSI reaches oversold here. Some pretty good bullish divergence from back here to here. I prefer to look for it between the swing lows though, rather than this far apart. That's not as reliable as looking at the 2 points closer together. But I will acknowledge there's some bullish divergence. Money flow, pretty strong bullish divergence as well, and probably multiple bullish divergence. I like. This is the reason I use money flow. It can be a little bit clearer than RSI. So there's divergence from here to here. Stochastics currently neutral. ADX tells us there's no clear trend. Price is essentially consolidating with resistance just below $7. Support about $5.20. We need to see a breakout above resistance. Actually, I would go so far as to say a break above the high here, 7.83305. If we see a break above there, we can have a little bit of confidence that Polkadot probably has formed a sustainable low back here. That's it from me with an update for Polkadot for you. Cardano is next on my list. I hope to get that maybe tomorrow, early next week, and thank you for your patience with my previous analysis with Polkadot. I hope this helps you. Oh, I also, just for those of you who have watched to the end, super exciting, one of my analysts in training is going to be producing his first video for me after a couple of months or so of training now. And I think it's probably going to be good enough for publication. He's going to be doing the Euro 5 times a week with a video at the end after Friday's session has closed. And so I'm going to be putting that on the YouTube channel for a little while we fine-tune his method for publication and I'm really confident that his analysis just requires my oversight and not deep input. And as soon as I'm confident that he's ready, we'll be launching a new product subscription to Euro analysis 5 times a week, text and charts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and an extra video at the end of the week on Friday. So that'll be coming for free on the YouTube channel while we finish him getting ready. So I'm really excited, and I hope that there's going to be some people who are going to be wanting to use that analysis. Thank you for watching to the end, and thank you for your support.